challenge her confidence. Let's start with that. What happens when quiet strength enters the room of unshakable confidence? This is the story of how one girl didn't fight to destroy another's ego. She simply showed up with excellence, and that was enough to change everything. In a world where dominance often goes unchallenged, one bold voice stepped forward to disrupt the norm. This isn't about drama. It's about growth, respect, and the real power of showing who you are. Welcome to Challenge Her Confidence, a story of quiet rebellion, bold resilience, and unexpected transformation. The arrival. Liliana stepped into the luminous hallway of Coventry High, her posture confident yet measured. She carried a sleek leather backpack and wore a subtle smile, aware of curious eyes following her every move. Almost immediately, she sensed the subtle pulse of competition emanating from students whispering in cliques behind lockers. She paused, inhaled the cool air of freshly polished floors, and vowed silently. She would not shrink. She would not falter. The challenge had been set, an unspoken rivalry waiting for ignition. As the bell tolled, Liliana squared her shoulders and walked into the first classroom with determination. The rival. Across the room sat Marisol, the reigning queen of debate team and social circles. Her laughter echoed confidently among her friends as she welcomed newcomers with a knowing nod. Liliana recognized that aura, a mix of charisma, dominance, and unquestioned respect. Though outwardly friendly, Marisol's gaze held a hint of judgment, as if she weighed every entrance with silent criteria. Liliana understood that to stand beside her, one would need more than mere words. One would need presence, resilience, and an unwavering inner core. This was the arena where ego and confidence clashed beneath polite veneers. The first encounter. During lunch, Liliana found Marisol in the cafeteria, surrounded by a half-circle of admirers. She stopped at the edge, ordered a drink, and sat one table away. Marisol glanced at her, raised an eyebrow, and offered a casual greeting. Liliana replied with warm sincerity. The two exchanged short pleasantries, each aware of the underlying tension. Neither gave away weakness, yet both bore the unspoken invitation for competition. Liliana's heartbeat steadied. She realized this moment would define her next steps. In that quiet space between words, the challenge had begun: to prove value, inspire respect, and face the storm. The invitation. A flyer appeared in the hallway, the upcoming Interscholastic Leadership Challenge. Teams would design a project, present it to school administrators, and win funding plus title. Marisol gathered her team, selected allies, and announced confidently, "We'll show them how it's done." Liliana listened from afar, then approached and asked if they needed an additional member. Marisol paused, measured Liliana's tone, then nodded. The invitation was subtle yet potent. Join them or accept a separate path. Liliana accepted. She now stood inside the rival's fortress. The pressure rose. The stakes formed like thunderclouds overhead. The strategy session. That evening, Liliana reviewed the flyer at home, made notes, and sketched ideas. She dug into research, explored leadership concepts, and thought about community impact. Meanwhile, Marisol met with her team in the library and assigned roles swiftly: spokesperson, logistics, design. Liliana joined, but suggested fresh angles: digital outreach, graphic storytelling, interactive polls. Marisol's eyes flickered with interest, but also caution. The proposal diverged from conventional paths. Liliana held her ground. In that room of strategy, her voice resonated. The game was no longer hidden. This was the moment to challenge her confidence, not by confrontation, but B. The tension builds. Days passed and whispers followed. Who is she? Can she fit in? The cafeteria, hallways, classrooms all felt the undercurrent. Marisol's team began to fracture subtly. One member doubted Liliana's unconventional approach, another resisted change. Liliana remained calm, stayed focused. She organized materials, rehearsed presentations, refined slides. Marisol observed, arms crossed, tight smile. Initially inclusive, she now felt challenged. The stage was shifting. Liliana's competence did not shout, it simply existed. And Marisol's confidence began to wobble, not due to aggression, but because the assumption of dominance faced something unanticipated. The real test approached with each tick of the clock. The breakthrough idea. In the evening of the project's final week, Liliana proposed an immersive virtual tour of the community space they aimed to revamp. She arranged for smartphone scanning, hid clues, tracked feedback live. Her teammates hesitated, but Marisol's official role compelled approval. The idea launched a buzz in the school, social media posts, hashtags, supportive comments. Liliana watched quietly as interest grew. Marisol smiled publicly, but privately masked uncertainty. The shift was subtle. Followers turned. Attention spread. Liliana wasn't just participating, she was innovating. And Marisol's assurance, once unshakable, felt brittle beneath the weight of unexpected creativity. The presentation day. The auditorium lights dimmed as each team took the stage. Marisol introduced the first segment with confidence, projecting authority. Applause followed. Then Liliana's section began. Digital visuals, interactive elements, live feedback. The audience leaned in. Liliana's voice steady, clear, composed. Her teammates complimented her. When they finished, the room buzzed. Marisol sat in the audience, expression controlled, but lips pressed thin. The feedback questions volleyed towards Liliana's team. They answered with P. The aftermath. Walking off stage, Liliana felt relief and exhilaration. Her friends congratulated her. Teachers nodded in approval. Marisol approached, extended a hand. Good job, she said quietly. Liliana smiled, accepted the gesture. Inside, she recognized the significance. She had not destroyed Marisol, but had invited transformation. Marisol's posture had softened. The ego that once loomed large now considered new territory. Liliana's confidence did not overshadow, it complemented. She found power not in dominance, but in authenticity. And Marisol, surprised but composed, considered a different path. The quiet conversation. That afternoon, Liliana returned to the library where Marisol lingered. They sat across a table, quiet at first. Marisol said, "Your idea really changed the game." Liliana thanked her. They discussed methods, motivations, leadership. Marisol admitted she felt challenged, perhaps for the first time in a long while. Liliana listened. She didn't celebrate the crack in Marisol's armor. She recognized it as opportunity. For both, they agreed to collaborate, combining Marisol's network and Liliana's innovation. In that space, respect bloomed. The challenge was resolved, not by defeating, but by evolving together. The lesson learned. Liliana reflected on her journey, entering a space dominated by someone else, daring to carve her own path, staying grounded. She realized confidence isn't about overpowering others, it's about empowering yourself. Marisol realized that leadership isn't a solo crown. It's shared responsibility, flexible vision, and willingness to adapt. The challenge had already done its work. The ego that once asserted through presence only now needed substance. Liliana's growth didn't rely on Marisol's fall. It mirrored her own rise. And Marisol's transformation didn't require surrender. It required acknowledgement and openness. The ripple effect. Word spread throughout the school about the innovative project and the unexpected partnership. Professors invited both to speak at assemblies. Students approached Liliana and Marisol with questions, ideas, curiosity. The dynamic changed. Marisol's popularity remained, but now shaded by admiration for Liliana. Liliana's image rose, but she stayed humble. New teams formed, new challenges began. The culture at Coventry High shifted subtly. Dominance based solely on history gave way to collaborative achievement and fresh voices. One person's courage had challenged another's confidence, and together they built something better than either alone. The real victory. When the award ceremony arrived, the principal announced both teams' names, but emphasized that the winning prize went to the team that demonstrated sustainable impact and creative leadership. Liliana's team. Marisol's team placed second, but applauded with genuine enthusiasm. In the audience, Liliana noticed Marisol's eyes shining with something unexpected, pride mixed with respect. The trophy was hers, yes, but more importantly, she had earned trust, connection, and authenticity. The victory wasn't just on stage. It was in the change of mindset. The invitation extended, the bridge built. The new path. After the event, Liliana and Marisol walked together through the empty halls, voices low but lively. They planned next year's initiative, combining their strengths. Marisol admitted she had grown comfortable in her role and perhaps stagnant. Liliana acknowledged she had feared stepping into unknown territory. Together they defined new objectives: mentorship, community outreach, cross-team collaboration. Their friendship emerged not from rivalry, but mutual respect. The challenge had done its job. The old dynamic dissolved. Confidence now belonged to both, not one at the expense of the other. The takeaway. If you watch this video, remember this. Challenging someone's confidence isn't about breaking them. It's about elevating the game. Real growth comes when two strong forces collide, and instead of destruction, something new emerges. Be like Liliana. Step into spaces that intimidate you. Bring your authentic voice. Remain grounded. And if you're like Marisol, allow yourself to be challenged. Embrace new ideas. Share the throne. In the end, victory isn't measured by a trophy alone. It's measured by transformation, by expanding possibility, by helping others rise too. The last words. Confidence isn't something you steal, it's something you earn. Liliana didn't defeat Marisol with arrogance or hate. She led with innovation, poise, and grace. True power lies in being grounded enough to stand tall without stepping on others. So if you've ever felt overshadowed, underestimated, or doubted, let this be your sign to rise anyway. Show up. Speak up. Be undeniable. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that challenge the status quo